Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Love Experience Show. I am your host, Ashley J, and I'm so happy to be on here again talking to you guys with another great episode. And before we get started, go ahead and share this this episode, with everybody that you know. Invite them to watch on YouTube, and do not forget to subscribe to the Love Experience Show channel, where we come to you live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and always has some great topics to discuss. Okay. And let's see what else. Do not forget June 24th and 25th, myself, Jasmine Dash, and Jessica McNeil will be having a women's experience called Building Your Love Empire. You have to be a part of this. Go ahead and I'm gonna put the link in the chat, but go ahead and get your tickets now. Go ahead and get your tickets now. Also, if you're a business owner and you have products and services geared towards women, we would like for you to be a sponsor for the conference. Not the conference, because I said I was going to call it the experience. We would like you to be part of the experience. So go ahead and DM me. Let me know that you have something that you want to share with women, and we will look over your product and service and let you know whether you qualify or not. All right. Also, I have the Boss Up Queen coaching program for single Christian women who are ready to break the same dating patterns that you have had in the past that have not brought you success. This program is for you. I am gearing it towards you. It's for real, Holy Spirit led. So you got to be part of it, okay? And also, if you're a couple, Rekindle the Fire is back up. So y'all come on and get ready for Rekindle the Fire. This course is for you if you want to learn how to be intimate on all 7 levels, stages, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So today I have a great guest, Miss Cassandra. All right. I don't want to mess up your last name. Is it Edward?
Edward.
Edward. Miss Cassandra Edward. And she is somebody that I kind of I guess we ran into each other a few times on Clubhouse. And I started following her on Instagram, and she got a story to tell y'all, and we are here for the story. Cassandra, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me. My name is Cassandra Edward. As she stated, we ran a couple of times on Clubhouse, and you're doing great things. And yeah. So good evening, everyone. As you can see, the topic is love is blind. Love can be blind. And what I have to say about love is blind is the fact that a lot of times we run across red flags in relationships, and we tend to avoid it because of the fact that we're so in love with the person that we're dating at the time, because of history, because of the times that we had invested in the person, or it could be a sexual thing. You never know. According to my story, I've been, of course, been in relationships and things of that nature, but the last relationship I was in, the reason why I could say some of the things that I've been in is blind is because of the fact that, when you're in a relationship, men cheats. You get the signs, and you still want to be in a relationship with the person, either because you have a child with that person, once again, you have a history with that person, or because, according to me, I received a prophecy that he was the guy for me. But not knowing that, and even when you get a prophecy, a lot of times when God is trying to work within you, he has to separate you in order for him to grow you, to help you to grow and to help your spouse to grow. Because if it's toxic and you guys don't see each other the same way, then how can God work in something if he's trying to separate the two? So, of course, for me, I said it was blindsided. I was blindsided because even when I asked God to give me a sign during the relationship, I still kept staying in the relationship. And it's funny because recently I was asking myself that question, like, why am I still in a relationship that, one, I'm not happy because I'm not in love with myself. Two,
Mhm.
what it is that, what it is that's causing me to stay. I know how to discipline myself when it comes to, the sexual aspect of it. But is it because I have a child with this person? Is it because I see potential? Is it because of the prophecy that I have received? So it was a lot of things that I was asking myself, why I was still stuck with this person, why I couldn't leave so I can grow and so he can grow. Because sometimes I like, one thing that I learned is somebody loves you. Love is an action, it's not just the words. And I was getting a lot of words and no actions. I was not getting the commitment that I deserve. So that is also blindsiding you because of the fact that you're not like, you're thinking them coming once in a blue moon, or whatever the case may be, is just what love is. And in reality, that's not love. And talks about love is patient, love is kind, it doesn't envy, it doesn't do all these different things, but it's not boastful, it's not prideful. But if we evaluate, and I evaluate my life, it doesn't give that representation. But if I stay away from scripture and really talk about the real reality of things, still, regardless, like when I listen to Monica's song Commitment, these are the things that I wanted, but still I wasn't receiving that. But I was still accepting the behaviors, accepting the his promises, but he wasn't giving me the measures of what it is he was stating to me. So it kind of remind me of the song Eve, Love is Blind. And it's very deep. The lyrics is so deep because a lot of the time
Mhm.
love doesn't mean staying in a relationship with somebody who's going to verbally abuse you. And that goes for us too, because we verbally abuse our spouse as well, emotionally abuse you, or you doing it to them, or as well as physically abuse you, and it goes vice versa. That's not love. I grew up thinking that it was love, but I saw my dad do it with my to my mom, and I knew that was wrong. And I always told myself that I wouldn't want that for myself. So when I used to see other women go through it, I used to ask them, why are you staying in a relationship, with a man that's abusing you? That's not love. But then there's other forms of abuse, as I mentioned before. So that's also blind as well. You understand what I'm saying? So you become blindsided by things and thinking that's love. And in reality, that's not love. Loving yourself first. When you love yourself first, then you're able to see, what it is that that you require, not only for yourself but for your spouse as well, for the future. So when you're able to come together as one, you guys are able to understand each other's love language. And he wasn't able to understand my love language, and I wasn't able to understand his love language. And that's what caused it to be a toxic relationship, when you guys are not able to understand each other's love language.
So I want to jump in because you giving us a whole lot. You giving us a whole lot. Okay, so I want to back up just a little bit. How long were you in the relationship before you said, you know what, I'm done?
You could say 4 years and a half of being in a
Okay,
relationship.
okay. And when you realized, okay, well, let me ask it this way. You mentioned not loving yourself when you're in the when love is blind, right? So when did you realize that, wait a minute, I'm part of this issue because I don't love myself?
When I started to compromise my happiness, and I started realizing that it was affecting me more. When I'm by
Mhm.
myself, I'm able to have conversations about the things that I should no longer tolerate, should no longer accept, because it's not me. And then when we're around each other, I start to tolerate it. And then in my mind, I'm saying I'm compromising again. Why am I doing this? And it's not making me happy. It's making the other person happy. And you're not happy with the outcome,
Mhm.
while they're being happy and they still living their life. And you're upset
Mhm.
about the situation.
Okay, that's good. So what steps did you take to start learning to love you?
I had to be honest with myself. That's number one. I
Mhm.
had to keep looking at myself in the mirror and keep having conversations with myself about like not tolerating some things. And then I had to be honest with him, and let him know I'm not doing this no more. I'm not going to compromise anymore, because it's it's taken away from my happiness,
Mhm.
especially now that I'm starting to talk to women and I'm writing a book about things like that. I have to practice what I preach. And if people looking up to me and I'm giving them one thing and I'm doing another, that's me being a hypocrite. That's me going against what I'm feeding the people, especially if I don't want to call myself an influencer, but you know, if I'm being the sheep leading others, I also have to practice what I preach. And then
That's
I have
good.
children. I have children. I have a daughter. So I don't want that for my daughter as well. So I have to be that example.
Oh yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay. Um, okay, I'm gonna let you go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you more.
No, go ahead. I'm open for the questions.
Okay, so my last question to you is 4.5 years is a long time. So I know from previous experiences that when it got to the point where we broke up, we would come right back together trying to work it out. And, same thing ended up happening. So, how did you handle that part of the process if that happened?
People gonna laugh at this or they might say, "What?" I prayed.
Okay, that worked.
I said, "God, I'm trying to get in order with my life, right? Especially with him knowing that he's calling me to go higher, especially the calling that's on my life.
Mhm,
I'm not saying like my path is gonna be straight and perfect in reality, but there's some things that I have to be committed in order to see myself grow because it's like I'm stopping my growth if I
mhm,
don't handle it that way. So I prayed about it and I asked God, like this time around, I'm serious. Now I'm not gonna lie, there's times I did went back in the relationship, and then I found myself back at square one again or making progress. But in the midst of it, I prayed and I asked God, like, he is a weakness for me. And if he's not the right now, God man for me, remove him. And I didn't like wish death upon him. I didn't wish anything, but let us go our separate ways, so I can grow and flourish in the areas that I need to grow and flourish. And if it's meant for us to reunite, we will. But I definitely prayed and was honest in my prayers.
okay, so that makes me think back to what you said about the prophecy. So, do you feel like you'll be okay if later down the line, I guess he matures or whatever the situation may be for him, and you get to the position that you need to be, would you be open to accepting him again? Or do you feel like maybe the prophecy was not very accurate?
I can't say it's not accurate because
Okay.
the prophets, it's more than one prophet that stated the same thing.
Okay.
But what I know for sure is that right now is not meant for us to be in each other's like in relationships so we can grow. Now, I truly believe down the line when we both mature and we're both able to handle each other, dealing with our baggage from our
Mhm,
past and we heal from whatever it is that we need to heal from and we
mhm.
get to the position that we need to be in, I believe that we can come back in a healthier place and be in relationship. So yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. Okay. All right. Go ahead with your story.
Well, that's basically, because of prophecy, I was stuck in that situation thinking like, no, I didn't want to like I feared of letting him go. Fear is another thing that can cause a blind side. Fear, because I received the prophecy that he is my husband and things of that nature. So because of fear of if I let him go, he may wander off and be with another woman. And it's like, Cassandra, wake up, he's already doing that now. So you can't
Mhm,
stop that. And then the fear of if I let him go too soon, then he's gonna end up marrying another woman, being with another woman. But then God keep reminding me, and I keep being reminded that what is for you, it is for you. Can't no one, take it away. No matter if he goes and he be with women down the line, what God has for you, he will turn it back to you. So I had
mhm.
to come into acceptance and letting it go. That part was really hard. I didn't know it would be a hard process to let someone go so I can move on and flourish. So love, like, because people have their own definition of love, society is teaching people what love look like. We're on social media, we're seeing what love look like, and we want that kind of love, but not knowing that it has to start from somewhere. When you're building a foundation, it's not going to be beautiful and dandy and glorious. The outcome is going to be beautiful and dandy, but it's not going to be like that. So yeah. I didn't know if you had any questions. That's why I paused.
No. Go ahead.
So that's what I had to say about, with love. Because love is patient. When you love someone, you will be patient in the process. No one's gonna ever be perfect. And I realized that in my relation, like, even analyzing the relationship now, that there's some things that, because we come from two different backgrounds. I come from a Haitian background where it's very strict. It's like, it's just like, I have to laugh about it because it's like they expect you to walk this perfect walk, to marry this high-end guy, be with a doctor and all this other things. And then in reality, God may give you someone else. And then, like they said, we are the helpmate to our spouse. So we have to help them get to certain destinations of their life. So it's like when he finds the favor, then that's when the two can come together and help each other. But in my position, because our relationship was toxic and he was going through his thing and I was going through, we can't help each other to grow. We can't help each other to flourish. So I had to let go. He had to let go. But because, like I said, because fear will keep us stuck. Fear will keep us thinking that we won't be nobody. We won't become the person that we see ourselves, because we're so stuck to this person, or they may have said something to us to make us feel devaluated, and make us think that these other women has more than we have. And in reality, we have those potentials. We have that and more, because we bring so much to the table. But if we don't know who we are, fear will cause us to think that we don't have that. But when it's time to flourish, when it's time to grow, we can't grow because we're stuck at that place. So now when it's time to leave a relationship, we're the things that they planted the seed inside of us, that we're not that. And in reality, that's not the situation. When I let go is when I realized who I was, and that I had more to offer. I had more to bring to the table. And then I had to think to myself, once again, even if he's not the guy for me, can I be okay with that? Can I accept that, that the covenant was broken, and that we went our separate ways, and that, whatever okay with that? I had to sit down with myself and realize, this is what love is. This is what I want. And then I will examine his behavior, and I will examine my behavior, and I would say, you know what, God, this is not what I want for my life. This is what I want, because you said this is what love is, and this is what I want. And I remember that when I said that, God said that, God told me I had to allow you to go through these things, because he don't know how to love. You don't know how to love. You want to know how to love. So in order for him to know how to love, I'm going to use you as the example to teach him how to love. That was really hard pill to swallow, because it's like, how can I go through this route, through this path, through this situation, just so I can teach someone else how to love? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So love can, like, sometimes you'll get so blinded that you don't even know who you are in a situation, because it happened to me where I was in a dark, deep hole that I had to come out. But then when I went down and I was pulling myself back up, I started to learn more about my strength, more about who I was. And then even when he came around, because God says love covers a multitude of sin, I had to realize that he also have his own kryptonite that he has to deal with. He also have his own demons that he has to deal with. So what do I need to do while I'm strengthening and while I'm empowering myself? Even if he's doing me wrong, speak life over the situation and don't allow it to overtake me, to consume me. And then also, I realized the woman that I am, then I started to build myself up as I look at myself in the mirror. Don't allow these things to be, your portion, because it's not your portion. And then the more I prayed for him, the more I started to see little changes. But once again, fear can cause that blind side, that cause you to be in a deep hole, that cause you to see you're not your self-worth, So
That's so good. Okay.
yeah.
So, with all of that being said, who is Cassandra?
Well, I learned that Cassandra is a fierce woman. I also realized that Cassandra is an author, and a lot of the things that I was going through was to build a book.
Mm.
Cassandra is also a mother. Cassandra is also a woman with a master's degree in mental health counseling. Cassandra is a preacher.
Why did you take a deep breath for that?
Because that was, you know what? It took a long time to accept that mantle because of my dad, and it's been told to me. And I try to run away from that. And when I started to go deeper into Christ, that's when he started to develop my identity. And that
Mm.
started to gravitate. Like, so I had to learn to accept the preacher side, but I still call myself a teacher. And also a future. I'm going to say a future prophetess because I am a seer because I can,
Mm.
God show me things, but I don't carry those titles. I'm not in office, but I am ordained because God showed me in my dream and he ordained me in my dream with oil. So that's how I know my role and who I am as a woman.
Okay. So as as you're talking, like there are similarities between you and I, okay? Because it was not that long ago, it was prophesied to me that, I was supposed to be preaching all over the world, and I did things to not make that happen. And that I am a prophet and a seer and all of those things, like that deep breath. I recognize that deep breath that you took. Because I was like, this is so not like I'm not walking around calling myself prophetess, seer, Ash. No, no. But I have come to a point in my life where I'm like, okay, I gotta accept it. If that's what it is for you that you want me to have, I gotta accept it. So I can identify with that.
Yeah.
Yes. So with you doing all of this work, and oh yes, and high five for the mental health counselor master's degree, because I got my master's degree in marriage and family therapy. So um with you taking that time to learn who you are, did that make you love yourself a whole lot more?
It did. A little story that I didn't even get a chance to tell you was before I even got into a relationship, I wasn't in a relationship, but I had a baby, and I had lost myself, and I had to regain myself again. And by
Mm.
doing that was I was modeling, and that was like a hobby for me, and it brought me back to life, right? And that helped me with my self-confidence, my boldness, and everything. Then I lost it when I got into the relationship compromising, when I got into a
Mm.
deeper hole because I had two children back to back. Now, postpartum depression is real for those who don't know it. But because I know how to really hide things with a smile and not talk about my problems, I basically was suffering in silence. But
Mm.
now that I'm in my position, I can say I'm slowly, yes, because I used to get my hair done. I used to love myself, get dressed. I love fashion. And that was my thing. And I wasn't doing that anymore. Like I let myself go because I was so deep in depression and anxiety and things of that nature. Things that I don't talk about, people don't know of. Now that I'm breaking free from it and I'm slowly learning to love myself again. Done. I'm doing things that I used to do, but it's on another level now because of the transition of God has me in. Like he has me
Mm.
in isolation to learn more about myself, to love myself. And then the fact that I have my daughter, that's what kind of give me that boost. Because when I
Mm.
see her, I see me. And I have beautiful children. So it's like, when you look at your children, you like, I created that, I birthed that.
Yes. Yes. Sometimes I say about my son, like, where did you come from? Because I don't know. So yes.
So yes, that's where it came from. So
That's good. And I think that's so amazing. It's funny how when we detach from the things that are comfortable to us, the things that we know, it's funny how when we detach from those things, we think that they're lost, that in that time with just yourself, it starts to come back and it becomes full circle. And then you have a greater appreciation for it the second time around, because it's it it's almost like giving you new life.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
like giving
agree.
you new life.
Yeah. As far as the new life part, it's because it's like something that's birthed out of you. You started
Hmm.
to realize more that it was needed to evolve to become the woman that you are today. You know,
Hmm.
it's like certain stories that you hear, it's like it becomes repetitive, but the last time when you know how to break that cycle, it no longer become repetitive anymore because that cycle has been broken. And it's something that within that situation that caused you to break that cycle because you're telling yourself, no more, enough is enough. Now it's time to evolve or it's time to burst out. So when you
Hmm.
start knowing who you are and you start seeing that this is where I should have been and realizing that where you are is where you needed to be because of where you about to go, you start to
Hmm.
accept, you start to let go. And
Hmm.
that's where God came in my life because I needed that transition. I needed to know who Cassandra was. I needed to know more of me. How come everybody know about who Cassandra is and I don't know about who Cassandra? And
Hmm.
since I was a little girl, I was always comfortable with people telling me who I was, but I never can open up my mouth and tell myself who I was.
Why do
So
you
this,
think that is, or was?
hmm, once again, it goes back to fear, maybe intimidation, accepting who I was as a young child. You know, there's some things that you go through as a child that robs you of your childhood, of your identity. I
Hmm.
didn't just, I, growing up, it was hard to accept that, accept who I was in my own skin. You know, when you don't know who you are, it's hard to accept everything around you. So you start
Hmm.
trying to be everything that you're not, or want to be everything that you're not, or wishing you could be everything that you're not. And then you start attracting different things. That can also be a blind side as well. It's not have to be just in a relationship that love can be blind. You can blind your own self of love. You can rob your own self of love, and you can cause your own self not to see the full potential of you because you don't know your own identity. And that's what a lot of women are dealing with, identity. And when you lose yourself in a relationship because of your identity and not knowing who you are, because everyone is telling you who you are and you don't want to see you for who you are, that can hinder you from your growth.
Absolutely. Um, this is a good conversation. So, okay, I'll say for myself, and I'm gonna try to say this where it doesn't sound like I'm blaming my mom because she's watching, because I'm not blaming her. I'm not blaming you, Ma. I'm just, this is what it is for right now. Okay. For me, the perspective I had growing up, um, having my identity outside of church was difficult to recognize, because I would see, how I was being groomed and raised to be as far as inside of church. But then when I would go to school, it would be a different side that I was afraid to. I don't know if I want to say afraid, but a different side that I was that I was trying to reserve when I was at home. And it wasn't until I became older, because, like, all right, when growing up, when it was almost like we were going to church every single day. Once I got to like 19-ish time, it was like, I'm not going to church no more. Like, I can finally break free from that, right? And I did for a very long time. And then it came to a point where I had to learn how to marry the two. So I had to learn how to, that it was okay to be who God called me to be, because obviously my mother and everyone else who had a hand in raising me saw that. But to it was also okay to say that, okay, this other side of me is part of this as well. And that's how God created me. Like now it's like the perfect relationship for me. And some of the things that I did before are it's starting to fall off. But and that's okay. But the to bring the two of them together to make Ashley is what is the sweet spot for me right now. Does that make sense?
I agree. I'm nodding my head because I agree. Listen, my dad at elementary, my dad was ordained to be a pastor. I didn't
Mhm.
agree with that because it's like then it wasn't to me, it wasn't delicious. I'm gonna just call it delicious. Like
Mhm.
no one in like the friends that I had didn't go to church. So it's like I don't want to say it was embarrassing to say like to tell people I'm going to church on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday when there's a
Right.
revival. You know, I felt embarrassed. Like I felt ashamed to say that. I would hide not wanting people to see me go to church. Then when my dad became a pastor, that even striked another. And I was mad at God, like, how can you ordain my dad to be a pastor? Like, and I think that's another identity of myself that I had to accept because I wanted to be of the world and I didn't want to be in the church because to me, church was boring. I came from
Mhm.
A Haitian household where church wasn't fun. It was just the Bible. I didn't understand the Bible. I didn't understand the scripture. How I understand it now, I love it. Like you can't tell me
Right.
anything. At times I try not to talk about God, but it just, as you see, when I started off, I had to like Cassandra. Let's do it for let's speak for the unbelievers who don't understand that language yet.
Mhm.
Um, it was hard to accept that. Even in high school, people knew I was different. In college, people knew I was different. They would call me church girl because not the way I dressed, but because it was being modest and conservative, and I wasn't really like, showing too much, or I would say no to certain things. And
Mhm.
I felt offended and I felt like offensive by it. Like, I'm not a church girl. I just wanted to be just Cassandra. Cassandra that
Mhm.
just loved going to church without it being a stigma attached to it. So like you said, as you got older, you married the two. I had to learn to marry the two when God had me in a place of thirsting after Him,
Mhm.
wanting Him. Even in this situation right now that I'm in, I believe that He wanted it to be that way because God is a jealous God and He was chasing me and He wanted me. So He allowed certain things to happen outside of, like I said, the red flags so He can get my attention. So I
Mhm.
can know of Him and not be more intimate with Him and not more intimate in the relationship that I have. And as you said, certain things you no longer do. Certain things I no longer do, but also sometimes I think to myself like, that is it best to do that? Because it's like it's a tug of war. But do I feel like I urge? No, it's not an urge. But I do feel like, when God has His hands on you and He's calling you to go higher, there's no way of detaching yourself from His presence, is from His love, because He's gonna find a way to cause you to return back. Because He said, come back to your first love.
Yep. Absolutely. You can't outrun them. You may try, like I tried. I tried, but yeah, it didn't last that long. So, yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and get them in now, um, for us to go over them in a few minutes. Okay. So, what would you say? Oh, one second. And mom, let me know you're not mad about what I said, please.
Aw. Look, my mom was mad at you at me at some point. I telling mom, it's not like that. Please don't take it that way.
So, what would you say to someone who, as many women do, someone who is lost, who they are, due to kids? Because I think part of it, losing yourself, like when you have kids, you got so many adjustments that you're making and
Mm,
so many hormones. that are happening all at the same time. It's crazy. But who would you say, like say a mom and someone who's lost themselves in relationship, everyday life, children, whatever the case may be, what would you say to them about getting to know who they are again?
It's a process. It's a process. And if you don't have a support system, it's going to be challenging, right? What worked for me was I had to, it leads me back to the spiritual life. And I'm not going to say that you're not going to have doubts, you're not going to slip, you're not going to fall into depression, but that's what kept me to kind of love myself and kind of like be free from my past. Because the thing is, you're going to, in that moment of your mommyhood and losing your identity, something like I went back to looking at my old pictures of that kind of gave me motivation. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, a lot of people don't agree with secular music, but there's some secular music that are prophetic, that are positive, that I listen to, that gave me back the power of being a woman again, to love myself, like India Irie. Certain people I would listen to give me back my identity. I listen to other powerful women. I would read sometimes. I would do other things that I used to do. I love to dance. So I would play music and just dance to kind of get back that womanhood again. Take
Mm-hmm.
you Self-care is important. And I know for most women like myself, sometimes I used to have self-care where I was able to fly and go to other places, but I had to realize that when you have children and you don't have that anymore, and the times that they're going to school, that's when you utilize that time to kind of like focus on you, to channel it on you. What do you want to do? Looking yourself in the mirror and speak to yourself. Even if you have to cry, there's times I look at myself in the mirror and I will cry, literally cry, because it's like, this is what I need, this is what I want. And then I will realize that the needs and the wants are different. I need something
Mm-hmm.
that's going to help me grow long term. So I channeled myself around women, empowering women, listening to women that will help me. Sometimes I'm on YouTube learning how to dress myself again, watching other bloggers, doing makeup, if you're into makeup, if you want to dress up, basically finding who you are. Don't allow what's trending to define you, but define you based on your look, based on how you envision yourself. If Michelle Obama kind of similarize what you're looking for, follow her trend, follow what it is that she's doing, not to say to copy it, but to give you that hope that you need, because we all need that motivation and that inspiration. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
I did.
That's good. Sarah Jakes Roberts was a big person for me.
Yeah.
I at one point, not even at one point, now like I listen to her, like I'll find a video and just listen to her every day when I'm like getting ready in the morning or whatever. Like I love her. So she is like a great person to
Mm,
kind of have as your mentor in your head, because
mhm,
she's cool. I mean,
mm.
she's very, very relatable.
Yes.
A lot of the stuff that she talks about and that she's going through, I've experienced it too. So she is that mentor in your head. Who else? Is a lot of people, like you said. I can't even think of everybody right now. She was the first person that came to my mind.
I agree with her. I definitely agree with her. And she even had that woman involvement.
Yeah.
Even if you don't attend her conferences, YouTube, her podcast, even her Facebook, that helps. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just
Mhm.
finding somebody that can help you to build yourself again. Sometimes, I'll listen to Beyonce and I'll get a little crazy, just a little bit, just to kind of give myself that power. But I'm not gonna react when she's telling me to do now. But however, it's just that, just to get your womanhood again, just to feel yourself again. Someone said they listen to Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston is good to listen to, but you know, just finding what works for you, at that moment, to help you find your identity. And then the best identity, once again, is the identity that Christ has for you. And once you step into that role and you accept that role, then nothing can shake you, because now you know who you truly are. Because there's a lot of things within us that is hitting. We don't realize it. and just have that conversation with God. Like, to be honest, that also worked, you know, having that conversation with God.
Yeah. I I want to say maybe almost every day. I won't say it is every day. Almost every day I'll ask
Mhm.
him, I'll pray and I'll say, Lord, okay, one, show me how you want me to lead this day. And two, let me be sensitive to hear your voice when you're talking to me so I can be obedient. And
Mhm.
I want to be that woman that you called me to be. Like that
Right.
is a prayer that I'll pray pretty much, I'll say maybe 5 out of 7 days of the week. That's a prayer that I'll pray. Because it's that important to me. Like for me, I'm like, it's time out for me wanting to just do my own thing, as in like buck up against what God has created for me to be. I want to make sure I'm pleasing Him so that I don't ever have to question, am I making Him happy? So that's why I started praying that prayer. And because of the different roles that I have, because I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a therapist, like because of all of that, I need you to guide me throughout this day to show me that, listen, this is what I need you to do
Mhm.
in this moment. There have been so many times when the Holy Spirit has come in to lead therapy sessions when I'm doing them. Like so many times because I'm listening to him. So I kind of went off topic, but I
No,
just
you're
started.
right on point about your day. No, you're on point. That's exactly what it looks like, because realistically, we don't have people to tell us exactly what it really looks like. Some people just straddle the fence and they say one thing, and then you're thinking this is their lifestyle, and in reality is not. And the fact that you're being honest and you're saying, this is what my day look like, it helps somebody know that, all right, it's not gonna be perfect. There's times I'm not gonna say I forget to pray, but I don't wake up like I used to wake up at 5 in the morning, and it'll be great, and then your day will go well when you have that conversation with God. And there's times I just be so tired and I don't even get to pray. And then I'm like, Dad, God, Lord, forgive me. I didn't come start in my day off with you, but here I am today, here right now. And this
Mhm.
time, my whole day will not even be about God until it's time to go to bed. Some people have a whole routine, and some people don't. And that's the reality of it. But that doesn't take away from like your relationship with God and your position with God. So thank you
That's
for sharing
true.
that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, but thank you for affirming that because I had this plan. I'm like, okay, 7 o'clock, I'm gonna get up and that's gonna be me and God's time. I have been so tired that I won't wake up to at 7 or whatever, but I'll still, okay, Lord, I'm gonna pray right now. I'm gonna, talk to you now. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Okay. Um, anything else I want to ask you? So, okay, your Instagram name is Pearls Top Notch, or is it Top Notch Pearls?
is Sassy Classy Billionaire, but I do have Pearls Top Notch in there.
Okay.
I do as the under, but it's
Okay.
at Sassy Classy Billionaire.
Okay. 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 See. All right. Sorry.
But you got the Pearls Top Notch. It was once that. It is the under.
Okay. So, is that prophetic for you?
Yes, because that's okay. So when I was in high school, wait, was it high school or college? Beyonce was like she's still my go-to person because of the ambition she had. She always used to call herself Sasha Fierce whenever she got on stage to
Mm-hmm.
perform, to entertain. So when I used to model, I always wanted something to kind of like give me back that to give me an identity,
Mm.
So sassy was because I wanted to be sassy. I always spoke that to myself. Classy, I always wanted to like have some class. And billionaire, I always wanted to see myself as a billionaire. So my signature was always Pearls Top Notch, sassy, classy, billionaire. Pearls
Okay.
Top Notch was like my college name because I used to love pearls, and I sworn I was gonna be an AKA at one point.
Okay.
Oh, I love pearls. Top notch was because everything I wanted was top notch. It didn't have to be luxurious, but to me, it had to be top notch. And that was always my mindset because of the way I was brought up by my
Okay.
mom.
That's good. I was like, when I first came across your Instagram, I was like, okay, this has got to be like, she's got to be working on this. Like, for her to have this in her name, this got to be something that she's working on. Okay. Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense, but I'm here for it. I like that.
She like this long name. Where'd that come from?
Okay. So y'all, you have any questions? We could go ahead and get the questions in now. And I'm looking at the comments. So good evening to my mom. She's the one that says she listens to Whitney. Um, to Miss Alfreda, Aunt Linda, good evening. I saw my mother-in-law. Hey mom. Um, my mother said, yes, we have to be careful. Yep, waiting on God to give you victory, to give you the victory. Miss Alfreda says you are making some good points. We really have to know God and His love for us. Yeah, we really do. And it's sad, but it's not sad. It's like now I'm realizing how much if I realized the love that God had for me, the mistakes that I made in the past, I probably wouldn't have made them. And the foolishness that I accepted in the past, I probably wouldn't have accepted it because I would have known, my God loves me.
Right.
And if He doesn't want this for me, then I don't need to have this. So,
Right.
but I always say that my story is to help people. Um, let's see. We do that a lot. Smile on the outside and we're hurting on the inside. We do. And I want to know, maybe I'll do a round table talk with some women. Why do we do that? We need to start guarding our hearts up. Let me pause for a second. This is an inside joke, but shout out to Colleen Walker for being on tonight. Good evening, Colleen. That's my aunt. Oh, my mom said, "Girl, I'm ready to free myself." Okay, Les. Colleen says, "So true. Self-care is so important." And yeah. Okay, Ben Tanker. Yeah, she was on Ben Tanker like I don't know what. She always listened to Ben. Um,
And
you
I gotta
guys
listen.
have anything else to say? All right, if y'all don't have any more questions, if you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask them. And if you look back in the chat, you'll see the link to the Bitly account where you can go ahead and purchase your tickets for the Building Your Love Empire experience, which is June 24th and 25th. You guys want to be part of that. You want to be there. It's gonna be a movement. Okay, it's gonna be a movement. Um, but I want to make sure, if y'all have something to say, I don't want to just end it and y'all don't say anything. I just want you to know, like, your vibe is reminding me of one of my cousins. Um, because she is a fashionista. And I told her, I said, listen, in the future, when the time is right, I'm gonna hire you as my stylist.
That's the
Okay.
route I'm trying to take too.
Are
That's
you?
like the thing is I can like if I can see what will look good on you. But the thing is, people they go by how you dress, how you look first, how you present yourself. Then they say, but me,
Mhm.
I'm different. So it's like if you say to me, this is what I'm looking for, and I could look at your body type, I'll tell you exactly what looks good on you and what the color scheme and everything. That's just that. I don't know, it's just a gift that I always had. But I worked at stores like New York and Company and things like that. Yeah.
I did too. I worked at New York and Company for a little bit.
Yeah.
So question that my mom has for you is what's your next step?
Well, my next step is right now I'm writing I finished the book. I'm waiting to publish it and start a women's conference around it. That's the next step
Okay.
and see how it evolves. I'm working on a virtual one right now as we speak. And then ready to see how God is going to use me, to be honest. I'm excited at the same time and just waiting to see. But my target
Okay.
is really to work with young women though,
Like what age?
13 to 18.
Oh, that's a good age.
Mhm.
That's a good age. They're very impressionable at that age, so you'll really be able to get to them.
Mhm.
I can't. I don't have the patience for that age. That age. I don't. I don't. I know my limits, and that's one of them.
Working in the mental health field, having to work with, the youth and families, a lot of their attitude, the bad mouth. And I used to have, as you can hear it, I don't know if you can, like sometimes you can hear somebody had an attitude based on how they talk, the gestures and everything.
Mm,
But it comes from somewhere. The root of the problem, either they've been molested, something
yeah.
happened to cause them to have that attitude. So it's like there's time I understand, and I don't want to say I overstand, and there's some times it's like, okay, we need to take a step back and we need to just meet each other on the same level. And because I feel like I can identify with some of these young women and these young ladies, especially at the ages when self-discovery is happening. They're trying to find
Mhm.
who they are. So it's just meeting them at that level. But I understand today's generation is different.
I remember. I remember when I was doing my practicum, and I was sitting on sessions with teenagers, and they would just sit there, literally not saying anything. And my supervisor, he would really be trying to get them to talk, open up, and they wouldn't say a thing. And I'm like, I can't even just sit here and listen to. I can't do it. I already know. Nope.
See, the strategy of that is because right there, that just shows trying to build trust issues. They're
Mm,
probably tired of opening up to people, telling people the same thing, and there's no resolution, and they can't
yeah.
identify with somebody. So it's like the approach. Sometimes they're gonna start off that way, but the more you become consistent and persistent, then they will see. Then they will be able to open up. But if you just give up at that moment, then it's like, see, you're another person that was just like me, like that came into my life.
And I don't need to do it then.
She said,
I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want anybody to be upset about me giving up on them because I don't want that.
right.
I'll just gonna take couples that they fight on. I'll take that over messing somebody up. Like I could work miracles with that. I can't do
He said, "Not my arena. I'm not touching
that.
it."
It's not me. That's not my calling. It's not. Oh my goodness. Okay. Said this. Everybody is congratulating you and saying that these girls need that, and still getting hurt from the counselor. Yeah, they do, and I like for real. I don't want that to happen to anybody. Like if I'm gonna have you as a client, I need to really be able to work with you. So stay within my scope.
Right.
You're on the money because once they gain your trust, you got them. I worked with that age about 15 years. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, y'all. This was fun. I don't want this to end, but we only do an hour, so. But I had a really good time. I enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. Me
Thank you.
too.
Thank you for coming on. If you guys don't have anything else to say, you already know what I'm about to say. If you know anybody that would like to be that you think would be a good guest on the show, or that would like to be a guest on the Love Experience show, let me know. If you're watching, if you would like to be a guest on the show, just shoot me an email or a DM and I'll get you scheduled. It's really not a difficult process. And share this episode with everybody because this is a good episode. This was a good conversation. So share this with everybody. And there is only one thing left to say. What is your love experience? I will chat with you guys next week. Bye.